And we're live. Well, at the time. And we're back. And it's the Vac. I'm Val. He's Nate. Let's do this again.
Yep, round two. I've got my nips tucked away now. Got a shirt on.
Yeah. No, so we had some technical difficulties just then. Lost our first intro. Coming back, doing it again. You know, Nate's got a shirt on. I've got a shirt on.
You've got a shirt on. We both got shirts on. I was just telling you all about the great work I did in that I got the Powerslap game and you haven't got the Powerslap game.
I still don't believe that you downloaded the Powerslap game.
It's immediately after the episode last week.
Wow.
Yeah.
And because I was saying, we were explaining how, we say we're going to do things and sometimes we do and sometimes we don't. And you pointed out that the fact that we're still doing this is something.
It's the one thing that we can always fall back on. So no one can say we don't do anything because we do this, but in between the episodes, we don't do anything.
Right. That is a fair cop. We'll take that. Did you get up to much? On
the Powerslap game?
Yeah, no, well, yeah, go on. What's your level?
It was pretty much exactly how you described it.
Really? You do a bit of training?
This was my experience with it. So I picked a character, this Ranger guy with a moustache. And for some reason, the first thing you do is you're up against what looks to be maybe the champion of Powerslap or something.
Right, you're fighting him first.
Yeah. And
get him out of the way.
I don't know why I'm starting with a guy. He looks like a beefcake.
Right.
And I do my first slap and it does 8 damage and he's got thousands of HP.
Oh, wow.
And I know what's coming next. He just one-shots me.
Right. What are you even doing there?
What am I doing there? I don't know. I don't know what Dana's doing putting me up against this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it says, you need to go to the gym.
Mm-hmm. You're not going to become a world champion power slapper sitting on your fucking ass, are you? You got to get to the gym. You have to practice some moves, don't you? What do you have to do?
You got to watch some ads.
Ads?
A lot of ads, man. This thing is like riddled with ads.
But is there a paid version? Does it offer you?
There's definitely paid.
Give us some
money. It tried
to
get my money. It went to a screen to get my money for like $17 a month or something instantly. Yeah. It's like a subscription.
Grab it.
Nottingham. Yeah.
So you've got a character in this.
Yeah, I got a character. And so I slapped a bag. So next thing I'm in training and there's a bag in front of me.
Slap it. What else are you going to do with it?
So I just started slapping it. Every time I slap it, I get $10.
$10?
$10 in the game.
10 skill points or something.
No, $10.
You're getting $10 a slap currency, on the thing. Why would you even bother going to the slap tournament? Just keep slapping the bag. Fucking be a millionaire.
But then the bag breaks, but then money and XP starts falling out of the bag.
Who made this game?
Oh, it's pretty shocking. And because your stamina is really poor, your slaps start getting really slow, so you can't generate much money.
Oh. So what do you have to do?
You then once
upgrade
the bag breaks, you start upgrading. Yes, I went for stamina because I wanted I wanted lots of slapping.
Yeah. You don't want a power slap?
Yeah, well, I figure I'll work on the power later. I think I'm going to go for cash flow.
You're actually giving this a crack. All right, well, I'm renewing my efforts. I'm going to double them.
No, honestly, once I got I went in. Then they gave me Dana gave me another go.
By the way, yeah.
Dana gave me another go at a shot at the title, but I think I'm starting with a pleb. So I don't know why I started off with the beefcake. Yeah, I think they just show you they give you a glimpse of what you might become.
Yeah.
What you're working towards.
It's a tutorial.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I was versing some terrible guy. We slapped each other a couple of times.
Got to say, it's not a great start to a video game, like getting beaten the fuck out of. You know what I'm saying? It's not a very positive way to start,
I got king hit in the first 15 seconds.
By someone who, you shouldn't have even been in there with. Okay, great. Yeah, great. We've done that.
I felt a little bit violated, but the ads are so brutal. Like, you were right. You were so right about it. But after this, I've won my first 2 matches. After getting one shot, I beat the next 2 guys.
Yeah. Because you were slapping the bag and getting that cash.
Once I closed the app, I've never opened it again, and I don't think I will.
Oh, right. So you got this done in one little session.
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Good.
10
And
minutes.
is there a multiplayer component from what you could see where we could slap each other?
That's why I wasn't interested. If we could slap each other, I'd be more interested.
We're going to do that. We're going to figure that out.
Oh, let me know if it can be done.
If I download the game,
you'll figure it out.
We'll see.
I'm a bit worried though because you might get hooked.
Uh-huh.
You've got a bit of a personality for video games.
Yeah, but I don't really like mobile games in general. I find them vacuous. Not to...
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. Well, not that I find them... it's just that I game enough as it is, and it's good to eliminate certain areas of the gaming opportunities that I have. And one of them is, hey, as long as you don't install any video games on your phone, you won't be a 24/7 gamer.
Oh, I see. So you've created a little bit of distance because...
Yeah, it has to be within the confines of your place for you to game. So
you got to be careful not to get one on your mobile, because I heard a stat the other day. I don't know if this is just in America, but they say that the average person looks at their phone 350 times a day.
That is a lot, isn't it?
That seems like a lot. That seems like a big number, but at the same time, I am constantly checking my phone.
Yeah, absolutely. Same here. And look, maybe we're in maybe we're at the end of the pendulum swinging on this one. Who knows? Maybe there will be a return back to, less screen time. But at the moment, it's where productivity lies. It's where all the information of the universe lies. So, yeah, it's a pretty compelling piece of the technology that we have.
You have to get in or get out.
I've lost you again.
I've lost you.
I'm back.
You're back.
Yeah. What the fuck's going on?
I am concerned.
Yeah, we've got some issues.
Because if you only live in the digital space with me now. I don't physically see you. So if your link to the digital realm is severed, you cease to exist as far as I'm aware.
Yeah. That must be quite troubling for you.
Let me
just
a bit worried
remind
about
you
it.
that we are just sort of staring at screens. They are just a piece of technology. We shouldn't be scared of them. Although I am getting more scared as the days go by about the AI thing and about the future technology. I think we may have a Dune moment one day where we rebel against technology because it does a lot of good, but overall,
I hope we do.
Yeah. What, you hope we do?
I think we need one. I think we will. It is when you extrapolate where we're going, it seems a little bit scary, but it probably always seems scary as you go back.
Jon Stewart did a really good bit about AI recently on The Daily Show where he begins with the grandiose ideas of the pioneers of AI and the tech giants about what are the possibilities, where they start saying stuff like all diseases will be curable with the assistance of AI in the future. Like they're talking about all the pie in the sky thinking, about what we'll be able to achieve with this technology. And then but they're thinking about the future. They're thinking about the distant future being able to do this shit by the end of the century kind of stuff. Whereas what it's doing right now, what it can do right now is replace jobs, cut down on what some of the tech companies called like the human tax. The fact that you have to pay someone like an employee to do a job. Now we got the AI who overall has made the place more efficient. Therefore, we need less people so you guys can get the fuck out kind of thing. Where it's like the things haven't been put in place yet for the governments of the day to say, hey, look, we understand that you guys are you guys don't have a job now because you've been replaced by a computer again. And we need to sort of come to the table on this one and help you guys out a bit. That hasn't begun yet. So the negative effects can already begin now. We can think about we'll cure cancer and, fucking unlock the secrets of space travel and shit with the help of AI. but the actual effects on the ground right now, like what are we doing with it right now? And Jon Stewart's example was it was something like it was Zuckerberg in his kitchen going, "Hey Jarvis, is my toast ready?" And it goes like, "Yes." The toast comes out, and he's like, "I think we got toast covered." You know, yeah, the cancer stuff and the, yeah, look, maybe leave the toast thing to us. He did a really good job. Absolutely crushed him.
I don't know what we're going to be doing with all these people that are living forever.
Oh, yeah.
And unemployed.
Right.
What a burden.
What a burden.
What a burden.
Yeah. Well,
on the government.
The positive. Yeah.
On the government. Think about all the money they're going to have to pay all these people, all these elderly people living forever. It's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare.
Well, they're going to have to do that other thing with that Matt Damon movie where they downsize everything. You know how they shrink everything? There was a movie called Downsizing where in the future you literally get shrunk to the size of an ant so that you need less resources.
Oh, okay. All right.
So entire colonies of people, humans, are shrunk down and they live in this world where if a Coke can falls on you, you're dead or something. I don't know. Like, I don't know what the advantages are beyond that.
So speaking of aging populations, I've been banging on for a while about population demographics. I think I've mentioned it a couple of times in episodes.
It's
particularly
popped up. Yeah,
Japan, obviously South Korea. We've talked about. Apparently, in the next decade, 300 million Chinese people are set to leave the workforce. It's the country's largest population group, the largest band of people within a 10-year block.
Sure.
So this is the size of the US population that is going into retirement out of the workforce.
Yeah. Okay.
This is like the AI, but without AI.
Yeah.
This is people.
Okay.
This
a
is
huge
old
exit of people from the workforce. And what do we do about this? Because not only are their jobs needing to be done by presumably young people, but the jobs that are required to take care of old people suddenly increase tenfold or 20-fold. So you actually need all these new workers that don't exist. They'll have to incentivize going into places like aged care. They'll have to incentivize it. I think money's a pretty good incentive usually. I think that would be a pretty good one. I think they should get paid more, probably as it is.
And then if you add the fact that...
What about robots?
Robots, we keep sleeping on robots, don't we?
Yeah, chuck them in. And just quickly, Terminator in number 1, Kyle Reese says they can look like humans. They even sweat. They bleed. And Sarah doesn't believe him because she's from 1984 or something. And she goes, "That doesn't sound possible." And he's like, "It's not. But 40 years from now." 40 years from now is now. So we're 2024. This is when Terminator predicted we'd have fleshy, Arnold Schwarzenegger-y cyborgs. That's what we're meant to have kicking about. I don't know if we do yet.
I don't know how factual they were trying to be because it's just more appealing if you bring that date forward a little bit. If they said in 200 years.
Don't you think the writers were hoping that by 2024, we had at least a robot that looked very human to be like, that's the thing, but this one's not killing us all. This one's a goodie, like Terminator 2. It just makes waffles and checks if your toast is ready or some shit.
Oh, well, it'll be a sex bot. The first robot will be a sex bot. It's not going to be a Terminator 2. It'll either be for military purposes or sex exploitation.
The two biggest industries in the world.
Totally. And I think the sex robot is far easier to achieve than a killing robot.
Right.
Because what happens if the killing robot, you don't want to arm the robot when it's not when you haven't fully figured out the intricacies of it. You don't stick armaments.
I mean, let's say they already have. They've got weapons guidance systems. They press a button, it finds a target, it hits it.
Yeah, but they're still controlled by humans. They're like robots controlled by humans. Sort of.
Where does that end? Because like a homing missile,
You don't just put
you
the
have to
drone
aim
up.
it at the thing.
You don't put an autonomous drone up and just kind of hope for the best.
No.
Not yet.
Well,
Not yet.
no.
Soon.
Well, yeah.
No, but in China, because there's been over the last few years or the last couple of decades, there's been fewer sons and daughters being had. Like, for example, with the one-child policy.
Yes.
That was in from 1980 till 2015. So let's say that's
Yes.
35 years.
So
there's
they've
no
kind
children.
of brewed this as well.
There's no children to look after these.
This.
So you leave the workforce. You know, you'd be hoping that, like a lot of parents hope they've got 2 or 3 robots.
You'd be hoping.
Robot children, even better.
Yeah.
Young robots.
Yeah.
They've got their whole life ahead of them that can, sort of do work. Yeah, so anyway,
that'll be the ultimate tragedy of robotics, is that robots will age in reverse. When you get them and they're brand new, they're completely functioning. They're at its peak at the very beginning of its life, and it just gets worse and worse after that. It's not good. It's not a good arc to be on. They're peaking before they even know what that means.
Yeah, okay.
No, but it doesn't matter. Look, we're going to have some pretty hard discussions. Not just with the AI of the future, but with our animals. Don't forget.
So should we be concerned about China that has like maybe 10 years to make a move before
but
its economy goes downhill?
It's levers. They have to pull some levers. Some levers have to get pulled. Some robots have to be made. Shit needs to happen.
This is what's good. When your back is up against the wall, that is when people innovate, isn't it? That's when they're like, we need to do something about this.
Sometimes problems don't get fixed until the problem's big enough.
Yeah.
And then they go, fuck, we got to do something. Like if they were a liberal democracy, right? And so let's say it wasn't China. Let's say it was just New Zealand or something. They had the exact same predicament.
Yeah.
And they've got to pull some levers. All right.
Yeah, what I reckon they'd do?
They've just incentivized people to come and work there from other countries.
Mm.
They'll go, come on over. We got the best deals. We got the best conditions. You'll have great working life.
Yeah, we need you.
Great family life. We need you to come. Yeah. We need you to stay. Have babies if you can.
Or maybe New Zealand could develop a virus. Release that virus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, but put that aside. They would come up with, they would incentivize.
You have to do something.
You
have to do something. Otherwise, it's not good, is it? We haven't really had an example in human history where this kind of problem has occurred. So there'll have to be solutions. It's a new problem.
Did you see China allegedly attacked Taiwan with a 7.4 magnitude earthquake?
Oh, my God.
During the week? I think they're getting sophisticated.
Right. Earthquakes. That was a gnarly earthquake.
There are no natural earthquakes. It's the government, man.
Really? They're moving the tectonic. It's easier to sort of shift tectonic plates?
Yeah, they're fucking with them.
Okay. Spicy.
This is just where this is because their back's up against the wall. They need to start, they got this aging population. They have to figure this out. So they're earthquaking, their enemies. It's a good strat though, right?
I was quite shocked at that earthquake though.
No one can pin it on you. It was pretty big. It was right. It was smack bang. Like, was it on landfall in Taiwan? It wasn't, often these earthquakes are kind of like out in the sea. This was...
Yeah. Regardless, it's still going to be
direct
deep,
hit,
right?
Yeah.
It's a 7.4 quake. I think I did see a map of it. And when I heard 7.4, I started thinking, geez, what was that Japanese one that I was there for? I think that was an 8.2. but I was miles away from it, and it was in the water.
Was it 8.2, was it? It was on New Year's Day. I don't know. I don't think it would have been over 7.4, but that's just my guess.
Wow, I can't believe it's like the main one.
It was 7.6.
7.5. Yeah, okay. I'm saying 7.5. 7.6, 7.5. That's pretty big.
It's a big number. What's it get up to? It's not a scale. It doesn't go to 10, right?
Well, it says when was Japan's last 9.0? The magnitude of the earthquake that caused a devastating tsunami in 2011 was 9.0. So pretty much one of the biggest natural disasters that we can remember was a 9.0 in the ocean. Big problem.
Okay, I'm just getting the biggest earthquakes.
What, by magnitude?
Yeah. I'm just trying to get an idea of how serious it can get.
It says in 1964, Alaska got hit by a 9.2, and there's nothing bigger than that I can see on this list. Now, granted, this is just a list of earthquakes that had...
I can see there was a 9.5 in Chile in 1960. Valdivia.
Okay.
That's what I've got. This is number one on the list, I reckon.
Well, this is a deadliest list, and then I've ordered it by magnitude.
Okay.
So obviously, if it didn't kill anybody, this doesn't even care.
Okay, well, this one killed 5,700.
Wow. Why is it not?
Man, it lasted for 10 minutes.
That's pretty crazy. What does that mean? Because I know that there are aftershocks and stuff. What does that mean, that the initial rumbling was 10 minutes? That's a bit wild.
That seems a bit long, doesn't it? I mean, I've seen earthquake videos. I saw the Taiwan, because there's so much security footage around, you saw...
Yeah, but literally buildings falling over and stuff.
Yeah.
Like when I was in Japan and the earthquake was happening, I remember thinking about the skyline of Osaka, like the massive skyline, and the fact that these cities are so heavily populated, like Tokyo, Osaka, so densely populated. I'm looking at all these buildings and none of them fell over. No one cared at street level.
But their cities are built to withstand earthquakes as well, their infrastructure.
But of course. And that's why they were so chill about it as well.
Yeah. Have you seen the buildings are built on springs?
What do you mean?
They have massive springs and other infrastructure at the bottom of the buildings to withstand the earthquakes. It's bananas what they do.
Yeah. I had a semi-recurring dream where either I was on, say, the 40th floor of a building, or I was repairing something on the 40th story of a building. And I remember, I think in one of them I live there and I'm in my living room and it's doing this, like it's swaying, like the whole building is swaying in the wind and I'm feeling it like the whole time. And I started thinking like, how am I ever going to be comfortable in my house if it's moving all the fucking time? And that was just a dream and I was terrified. And every time I'm up there, I'm thinking I'm going to die. It's weird. It's a really weird feeling.
And you don't have too many dreams either.
No. I had a lot of dreams while I was in Japan.
Yeah.
And while I was in India.
Yeah.
There's only a couple.
We were talking about dreams. What was that thing? It's lucky to dream about like an eggplant, a hawk, and it was some Japanese thing.
And Mount Fuji. Yeah, Fuji,
and Mount Fuji
was involved. A dove or something, a white dove, and an eggplant.
So we were discussing how you could put that was one of our first uses for AI. When ChatGPT came out, we asked us to make a story, a dream story about an eggplant, a hawk, and a Mount Fuji. It tried.
Yeah, we were trying to spur on that dream because apparently it's very good luck to have that at the start of one of the seasons or something, maybe at the start of the year. You want it to be your first dream.
I thought you wanted a sex dream. I thought that's what everyone's gunning for.
Yeah.
It's strange that you can't. I've never had a what do you call a lucid dream
where you're in control.
No,
where
my dreams are out of
where
control.
you know it's a dream and you recognize that it's a dream. That's when, and you can control it at that point. That's the idea behind lucid dreaming. I remember I got really into it at one point in the sense that I thought, well, this would be a cool skill to learn.
Oh, it would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be great.
It'd be fun. It'd just be wild. You could fly.
Yeah.
In theory.
Yeah.
What would you do? I'd want to be in a submarine.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of sex dreams in various locations. We'll start with a submarine. Sure. Why not?
Yeah, hey, I had a sex dream in a submarine.
I had a sex dream about one of our friends.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Have I told you this?
No.
I had a sex dream about Millsy. We're in a spa. We're in a spa bath together. Right?
Yeah.
And I think he was sort of, he was on my lap, right? And I remember thinking, this is weird. This is a bit weird. And he may have said, yeah, it is a bit weird. Or he may not have. It didn't, that was it. That's all I can remember. That's all I remember from the dream. It was So
he was cool with it.
In the dream?
Yeah, he was pretty comfortable.
You'd bloody hope so. You'd bloody hope so. It's my dream. So I don't know if I've told him that. I probably have. No, I probably haven't. He can know now. You haven't had a weird one about Millsy?
No,
it's funny because he wouldn't
he hasn't entered my dreams that I'm aware of. But I don't really remember my dreams very well.
Maybe that'll be the little push you need to have a Millsy related dream.
I have a journal that I have next to my on my bedside table. It's got a little pug wearing a astronaut suit on it, and I'll probably only write in it twice a year. But if I have a dream that I just really want to remember because I felt like, for whatever reason, either I thought it was really interesting, or is somehow insightful. Sometimes I come out of dreams and I think that shit made so much sense. Like I've had some serious insight. Like I fully understood and comprehended the dream, right?
Yep.
And so there'll be
holes in that. There'll be holes in that.
Oh, I remember big holes. And after a minute or two, you start actually going through the dream and you're like, what the fuck was I thinking? How did that make any sense to me?
Yeah. I don't have a dream journal. I've never kept one properly. But while I was in Japan and India, I did have a lot of time I was by myself a lot. So I did have time to write down a few things. And I do remember I wrote down 2 of the dreams that I had there while I was there, and I wrote them out with like a lot of detail. And like you said, while I was in the moment, while I was in the dream, it all made total sense, like perfect sense. Like you couldn't tell me it wasn't reality. And then, like I was saying about you poke holes in it, as soon as you read through the story, even just read through your own notes 3 or 4 times, you'll go, well, that doesn't make any sense. And this is clearly fucked up. And you feel silly for not knowing that it was a dream.
Yeah, you feel silly for that making any sense.
Any sense at all.
Like, why didn't I wake up after the dream and go, just acknowledge that was really weird. It made no sense. It was an amazing dream. But you come out of it thinking, I learned so much. I totally get it. And I want to record this.
I didn't learn anything in mine, but mine were UFC related.
Yeah, UFC related. Yeah, Dana, you were talking to Dana.
Yeah, I was going to work and I went past some roadworks and I must have like run over a cone or something. And Chris Weidman, who was working there on the construction site, said, "Oh, you fucking idiot. Like, what are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, bro, your traffic management is fucking terrible here." And someone filmed it, this altercation between me and Chris Weidman, the foreman. And Dana White arrived at my house, knocked on the door. I opened it. He said, "Bro, this is blowing up on the internet. You're going to be a big star." It didn't go very far.
How's that for scouting, though? Like, did you even fight Chris Weidman?
I was a lightweight. I was a lightweight.
Did you fight him, or did you just have a verbal altercation with him?
We had a verbal altercation near Loftus Street.
Based purely on your trash talk?
On Loftus. No. They weren't setting up a fight or anything. It's just that people thought that I was in the right. No, people thought that I was in the right. And maybe Dana White was like jumping on like a bandwagon to take down Chris Weidman and just doesn't give a shit about him anymore, like wants him out or something. You know, I don't know. I don't know what's going on in Dream Dana's head. Right.
You know what?
But yeah, that was the gist of it.
Maybe we're actually approaching this all wrong, because if you're a really good fighter, it doesn't mean it's going to translate into a career in fighting, because you might not have you might win fights a bit like Colby Covington. Early in his career, he was doing okay, I think pretty well, but he wasn't an attraction. Like, no one wanted to watch him fight. And then he started thinking, I need to be more exciting. I'm going to be the heel. I'm going to start trash talking. I'm going to do what I need to do to make, and people hated him.
Chael Sonnen did the exact same thing. Chael Sonnen didn't used to go after everybody hardcore until it got him where he needed to be, which was the title fight with Anderson Silva. And his trash talk from there on is some of the greatest fight talk in history.
From then on, so from the title shot?
From Anderson Silva onwards. From his first fight with Anderson onwards.
Right.
But that's when everyone came to know Chael. Before then, no one really knew who he was. He was winning fights, but he wasn't doing anything outside of that. You know, when he became the number one contender, everybody just thought, oh, they're just offering up another person to Anderson Silva, you know, the god of MMA, to just decapitate, you know,
and this
another
is
guy.
Why Conor McGregor was just such a blazing success.
Yeah, because he came
did the
straight away
talk
with the heat. Yeah.
With the heat, and he was backing it up. So he was talking the talk amazingly.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, not only that, but he was delivering.
And he was walking the walk.
He did, in Cage Warriors, which is the UK's biggest promotion, he got the featherweight title, and then he said, I'm going to get the lightweight title. And he went and got the lightweight title, right? And then he said, back then, I'm coming to the UFC to do the exact same fucking thing. I'm going to take the featherweight belt and I'm going to take the lightweight belt. And he did it. It's absolutely nutty what he did, while still putting a massive target on his back. And he's still a draw today, even though he's lost a bunch of fights. People want to fight him because they know it's a big payday. They know they'll make 10 mil or some shit, or become a star, or be another guy to like knock out McGregor, or be on a highlight reel forever. It's a tough one. But Chael, man, Chael said one of the best quips in MMA history. He said two of them. He said, John McCarthy says in a tournament, he says, who do you want to fight next in the tournament? Would you rather this guy or this guy? And I think it was between Fedor and Rampage Jackson. So either one of those he has to fight. And he goes, it doesn't matter who you fight. And he said, 1-on-1, 2-on-1, or 5-on-1. I'm going to make them all need 9-1-1. It's my favorite MMA quote ever. He's got another one as well. It's an absolute fucking classic, but that is my favorite. It doesn't get any better than that.
That's excellent. That is good.
And that's just off the cuff because he wanted to leave. You know how fighters say, all right, you know, fuck you, I'm out, and did the walk off. You're meant to let that fighter walk off. You're not meant to like follow him and ask him any more questions. But John McCarthy did, and Chael said, look, John, because it's your first night on the job, Uncle Chael will stick around and chat to you for a bit. But, you know, he fucked him there. You should have let him walk. But he came out with that perler, so you got to let him stay. Oh, and he said, Fedor Emelianenko and Quinn and Rampage Jackson, boys, neither one of you is the best, but one of you is next. He's the best. I love Chael. And I hated Chael. The first time I saw Chael, it was when he fought Anderson Silva to a 4-round, one of the craziest fights I've ever seen. Chael just kept taking Anderson down at the start of every round. Everyone was holding their breath where I was. There was 500 people there. Everyone was saying, oh, don't worry. every round starts on the feet. The commentators are saying every round starts on the feet. They're thinking Anderson's just going to clip him with a knee, and he just took him down. And in the fourth round, Anderson's gassed, Chael's gassed, and he slaps a triangle on for the gnarliest crowd reaction I've ever seen, not being at the event itself, like just being at a pub, you know.
Wait, Chael slaps the triangle on Silver?
No, Anderson slaps the triangle on from the bottom.
Yeah, from the bottom. Yeah, of course, yeah.
Because he's been taken down again in the fourth round, or the fifth round even. And he subs.
And Chael was winning at this point, right?
Chael had all 4 rounds. Easily. Easily. If he could just lay on Anderson for another few minutes, he's the champion. And this whole story is different. So after that fight, everyone hated Chael still because he talked a lot of dumb shit. And then we realized what he was doing, and he became like a fan favorite heel in a weird way because everyone knew he was doing it. It became funny. Whereas when Colby does it, you're like, man, you're being inflammatory. When Chael does it, everyone's just like, Chael. He's cool. He can do whatever he wants. Having said that, I think Colby and Chael are actually pretty good friends, I imagine, and he was probably giving him some help with that, I would imagine.
Yeah.
There's UFC in Perth in August. Going to go to that? Yeah, you want to come?
Yeah, in August.
Yeah, let's go. August 18 or something.
Yeah, okay. Why do I feel like I've got something in August?
You do.
I just
the
know
Vacuous
the UFC.
Perspective's going to the UFC. It's going to be massive.
The UFC always schedule things when I've got things on. The last 3 times they've done me. They did my wedding. They did my wedding.
I know they did your wedding.
That is rude. No. Remind me again as well. I'm keen.
Yeah. We'll have to get on. We'll have to get on early because it's going to be at RSE Stadium, so Perth Arena. I think it holds about 12, 14,000. That's probably what they'll get in there. Maybe 16. But it's huge. It's coming back.
So also, they don't release the fights, do they, until much closer?
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought so.
The venue. Yeah.
Well, they didn't even have a venue up until very recently when they announced it's Perth.
Yeah, who's that guy from Perth that's done well recently?
Urseg? Urseg's fighting for the title, and then there's Jack Della Maddalena.
That guy. Yeah,
do you reckon he'll fight on the card?
Yeah, I reckon he will.
Well, we've got UFC 300, which is coming up this weekend on Sunday. UFC 300. Yeah?
Is that this Sunday?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And, it's not as stacked as you would think.
No?
No. Let's compare. So, I mean, it could be because I'm sort of out of the fight game a bit more than usual. Like I'm a bit removed. But let's compare UFC 200 to UFC 300, okay? UFC 200 main event. Amanda Nunes versus Miesha Tate. Okay, that's the main event.
Okay. Yeah.
This main event, Alex Pereira versus Jamahal Hill. Okay, cool.
I'm not sure who he is, Hill.
But you know who Pereira is.
Yeah. But that's not
Brock
surprising.
Lesnar.
I was going to say,
versus
Brocky.
Mark Hunt. That's the co-main event.
Yeah.
Of 200.
In 200, yeah, of course, yeah. That was controversial.
Very. It still is.
Was that Hunt's last fight?
Of course. He's been in litigation ever since. He's upset.
Because they put him in with an animal.
A killing machine. Yeah. And the co-main event in UFC 300 is Zhang Weili versus Yan Jihan. So I don't know who that other person is, but Weili's a good fighter, great champ.
Yeah.
So the co-main event, we're going to call this the co-main event.
Yeah.
Daniel Cormier defending his light heavyweight title against Anderson Silva for no fucking reason, bro. Just for no fucking reason.
Just get him in there.
Sorry, I'm so upset about this one still. I'm so upset about this one. They did him so dirty, man. Like,
Were
so
they just
listen to
feeding him
this.
to Cormier, or what? Why do you say
listen
that?
to this. No, right. So it was a late change to put Anderson in. He was not the scheduled fighter. During the UFC Fight Night Dos Anjos versus Alvarez broadcast, it was announced that former UFC middleweight champion Anderson Silva would replace John Jones on less than 2 days' notice and face Cormier in a 3-round non-title light heavyweight
John
bout.
Jones was fighting DC. Was supposed
on
to
UFC 200. Like, see how big that card would have been?
That's right. He was cut. He was really upset about that because obviously he trained so hard for something like that. This was DC's.
You get what I'm saying? Like, look at the fucking caliber of this card. So John Jones gets dropped. He was the co-main event.
Yeah, that should be there. That should be that should be the main event.
Anderson got fucking ragdolled, and it was real sad. So let's compare that to UFC 300 co-main event. We got Justin Gaethje defending the BMF title against Max Holloway.
Is he the current holder of the BMF?
I think he is. It's not Max. Or it could be Max, actually. So the BMF is symbolic. No one gives a fuck about the BMF title, really. All right, so the
people will track it, right? They will track it through. It's just one of those things now. It's a being the lineal. It's a lineal heavyweight champion type thing.
It's a good belt. It's a good belt to have. All right, so the fourth fight on the card: Jose Aldo versus Frankie Edgar. Massive fight, massive. Compare that: Charles Oliveira versus Arman Tuxakara. Look, that could be a great fight. Oliveira's great, and Arman. I'm not putting shit on the whole card at all. I think it's going to be a good fight card. I think they all are good fight cards. I'm just not sure if they got the event they wanted to.
Yes.
I think they've missed out on a couple of. I reckon maybe if you talked to them 6 months ago, maybe they thought maybe they could brew a Conor McGregor 300 fight. Maybe we can brew, a John Jones heavyweight title fight. Maybe we can get that on 300. None of that happened. There's still more fights, but you get the idea.
UFC 200 was a 9.5 magnitude earthquake.
And
UFC
Cain Velasquez
300
versus Travis Brown is the next fight on the card. I know you would have been excited about that.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God.
You became a big Cain fan when you became an MMA fan, and then I think you never saw him.
He never fought again.
Well,
I picked him as my man. I picked him as my fighter. I'd seen enough. I think I'd saw some highlights. And I was like, this is my guy.
What did you like about him?
He's a pit bull. He's a pit bull.
Yeah, he's scary.
He is so scary. And he didn't look a lot like a fighter. He just looked like this angry Mexican.
Yeah, well, he is. He's
really well
in jail
built
now for being angry.
Yeah, being an angry man.
Yeah.
I think it was his aggression. He was so powerful.
Yeah, look, there were a couple of when you're a heavyweight champion for as long as he was as well. He was undefeated for quite some time. Though traditionally speaking, the heavyweight title, you can't really hang on to that. I don't know why.
It's a bit like with the heavyweight fight. You go in there, you flip a coin. Metaphorically, you both just start swimming. Yeah, swinging. Yeah, and someone gets hit.
Yeah, I think that's fairly true. But then there's also the notion that, look, if it goes past round 2, there's no knockout. These guys are throwing pillows. Yeah. They're going to throw pillows at each other for a few rounds.
I don't understand how the heavyweights are lights out when they land punches. They land a jab and they can just turn the lights out completely. Whereas, the small, I don't understand how the power makes that much of a difference. I didn't think they'd be generating substantially more power. I know it's going to be more power. Well, there would be
a tipping point. There would obviously be a tipping point.
Like, I wouldn't have thought that their punches
there'll be a
are
weightage
twice as
of
hard,
person.
For example.
Yeah, sure. But there'll be if a person's 600 pounds, as opposed to 260, the chances of them knocking you out get even less.
Yeah, but they can deal with you in other ways. They can just smother you. Yeah, they can just fall on you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So 600 pounds is about 300 kilos. That is a small buffalo. That would be like getting trampled by a small bovine.
Yes.
But I don't think a 600-pound. I've watched my 600-pound life before. They're normally bedridden. They're not really moving around. Like there's no.
That's what I'm saying. The chance of them knocking you out gets really low. They're not clipping you.
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to get me if they managed to grab hold of me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they'd have you.
And drag me down.
Oh yeah.
Then I've got some problems because I think they'll just slowly work their way on top of me. They'd roll.
Likely.
I saw Winx. Remember that horse Winx?
Yeah, didn't one of its babies get sold today?
Yeah, $10 million.
Now, just to put that in perspective, that is a record. So it's obviously a lot of money.
So $5 million gets you Black Caviar's half-brother.
Half-brother? Yep, okay, great. What else? You got any other stats?
Well, the previous record for a filly yearling, which is what this Winx's daughter is, I believe a filly's a girl, right? Winx was a girl, I think.
Not sure.
But that went for $2.6 million. That was the previous record, and this one's gone for 10 mil bowl.
So how much do you win if you win the Melbourne Cup? How much do you win as the owner of the horse?
I don't know.
Over $1 million? Couple of million?
Yeah, oh no, definitely. Yeah, a couple mil. I thought it was a couple mil. It's
so
over $1 million.
You have to win like 5 cups to just break even on this horse.
If Winx is a woman, I can see maybe why her offspring is fetching such a high price tag, because she can only have so many babies. Right, there's a limit. Whereas if you are a bloke, right, if you're studying this thing, if Winx was a man,
they could just jerk him off and make millions of him.
Yeah, you can a billion. You could make 1 billion Winxes a day if you wanted, if you had enough test tubes.
That is science. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. That does create a bit of scarcity in that sense.
It does.
Winx is a lady. Yes.
Yeah. Seems like a lot of money, but.
Well, it seems like a lot of money if you can't make that money back. If you're just going to ride it around, like maybe if it's just an A to B, like if it's just your workhorse, just to get you to and from work, and you're not planning on, you don't need the money. Like you're not taking into account that, you need to win 3 or 4 Melbourne Cups to pay this bad boy off. It's just your A to B.
Jeez, how wealthy would you have to be? Can you imagine like Twiggy Forrest or something? He just decides to buy Winx's offspring so he can ride it into work and he can get there a little bit faster than another horse.
Yeah, and maybe it's just for the prestige, really.
Yeah.
It's one of Winx's. Yeah. Actually, no, I'd be happy with that if someone bought it and didn't race it. Like, I'd be fine with that. But the fact of the matter is it's probably bought by someone who's, absolutely trying to make some money off this thing. And not someone who, maybe they love horses and maybe they really care about horses and maybe they really care about this horse in particular. And
maybe like this horse is going to get abused.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull it out of the racing pool. I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
Some wealthy benefactors just.
Yeah. That'd be so good if like, some animal activists banded together and bought it just to get it out of there. I'm sure they could probably think of better ways to throw $10 million at a social issue, but it's a pretty it's a statement.
But they could have bought so many other horses. They could have bought 1 million other horses for $10.
Yeah.
Speaking of wins, though, the Eagles had a narrow loss on the weekend.
Did you watch it? I was going to talk to you about this. Yeah, I did. And I picked it up during the second quarter. So I turned on and I just thought, what the fuck is this?
Holy shit, they're
up. What the fuck
up.
is this? And this is what I found fun about that whole thing is, look, the Eagles went out there and they played a quarter and a half of footy and actually looked pretty good there. And there was some great highlights. Harley
I think
Reid
more than
kicked
I think
his
that's a bit
first
half.
goal.
I think they played more.
No,
They were pretty
were
competitive
smashing
the whole game.
They were doing really well. Everyone was getting up and about for them. This is a team who they're up there, aren't they?
Sydney are red
Exactly.
hot.
Like
I think they lost last week, but they are red
contenders.
hot.
They're contenders.
Deep midfield, hugely deep midfield.
Yeah, so a bit of a challenge, you would think, for the boys who get smashed by 80-plus points on the reg and have done for the last couple of years.
Well, last time they played Sydney, they lost by 171 points.
That is a joke. All of the analysis after the game was, how good are the fucking Eagles? Like, they didn't win. Like, they talked about the game at length and didn't mention Sydney's name once. They talked about like, oh man, the Eagles have got a lot of positives out of this, and the Eagles can look at this and feel pretty good about this. And Harley Reid did a couple of good things. I think he's the league leader in don't argues right now, in giving people 100%. Stiff arms, like tackle
He's
breaking.
Untacklable.
It's great.
The first guy that comes at him, he just puts him on his ass. It's like he's got the force. He just goes, no, sit down.
Yeah, it's very much the Dusty move. Like, well, not Dusty's move, but he was very good at it as well. Just giving people just a little nice push to the fucking head.
He is a love child of Dusty Martin and Patrick Cripps. He's got the size. He's not as tall as Cripps, but he's in between Martin and Cripps, but he has the don't argue. You have the strength and the ability to break a tackle. He has the don't argue of Dusty, but the ability to break a tackle of Cripps.
Yep. And look, without knowing anything about football, Harley Reid looks like he's got some pretty damn good footy smarts about him.
Yeah, the way he uses it. And I think if you're going to add another love child in there, get Pendle's sperm in there, because he uses the ball. What I'm extrapolating, I'm not saying he's perfect. He's 18 in his third game and he's got composure.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't look out of place at all at any point in the game. You know how you watch a first-year player and they might be a bit, he looks ready to go now. He's still got so much more potential as well.
Man, I get very aroused watching him.
Yeah.
Very aroused.
Yes.
Did you see him run through Heaney? So Heaney's maybe the best tackler, best pound-for-pound tackler in the AFL. I'm going to say that.
Yeah, but how much of that do you think is Isaac Heaney sizing up Harley Reid and going, oh, man, watch this. He's thinking to himself, I'm going to grab him, I'm going to take him down, and it's going to be awesome. That's what he's thinking.
He's thinking, I'm going to make he's the captain of Sydney, and he's go, this little 18-year-old guy, I'm gonna show him. This is in the back line. Yeah. So this is in the defensive 50. So if he gets done holding the ball, it's a shot at goal. Heaney is licking his lips, going, "I'm going to get this guy," and he just he like flies off him. I don't know. He goes out of the screen, so he tries to tackle him. He just flies away. It's weird. I don't know what happened. I don't even understand how gravity was working in that situation.
Bloody hell, man! It is exciting. We needed something to get excited about in the West, and we got it. And it wasn't just us, man. Freo played Carlton, and a bit of controversy there. I don't know if you saw what happened in that game.
I did. Well, I saw it after the fact, but yeah. Touch
ball, scored a goal, ruled a goal, and then
ruled a mark from the kick, and then subsequently set shot.
And then was it Jordan Clark gave the umpire a bit of lip, and they gave another goal. They gave a free kick from the goal
kind
square.
Of a re-go, like a sort of let's have another one, have another goal.
And
with a minute left in the game,
and they did. And I think someone did go up to him to say, "Hey, man, that was stiff. Like, hey, bro, like you got done there from the other team, from Carlton." Goes up to Clarko and goes like, "Man, you got fucked there."
Was this after he said something, or
after the kick was done?
Oh, okay.
I think.
Yeah. But I wonder what he said. He must have said something pretty personal.
I think it was the language used was probably inappropriate language. So, and umpire dissent is a rule. You barely see it get enforced, right? You know,
particularly late in a game like that. I mean, don't you have to have a bit of thick skin as an umpire and just go like, I think it's worse
I don't know,
when
man.
you make
Hard for me.
if you put your arms out and you say, "What the fuck are you doing, you wanker?" They go, "Sorry, mate, you're making me look silly here because I have to penalise. I'm supposed to be the authority here.
Sure.
You're not supposed to be treating like this." There was nothing. I didn't see any arms. He said something.
Look, personally, I think it's a great thing to have in sport.
I don't mind treating the umpires with respect.
Yeah, sure. I think it was a rule that I used to talk about with Tunge a lot because it was a rule when we played laser tag that, even, the shrug of the shoulders, even the shrug of the shoulders without any words was punishable, right? So in essence,
really?
Well, yeah, in essence, don't even fucking look at the ref.
Yeah.
You've got a job. You're a player, right?
Yeah.
You have to play the game. They have to ref the game. Your jobs are not.
Yeah, okay.
Your jobs do not require that interaction. Okay? You got to keep doing your job, which is play the game. The best example of this, the best supporting pieces that I can give for this is whenever you ever seen a player, he goes, holding the ball. And the guy goes, "No, I don't have it." And he's like, "Oh, okay, then play on."
I know.
Obviously, it's never happened.
Yeah.
So you don't talk to the fucking umpire at all, in my opinion. And I think other sports would benefit from it more so than AFL. Is things like soccer. How much appealing for free kicks is there in soccer?
My God, they treat those the way they talk to those umpires.
Cricket would become a very shit game because the appeal goes, and that's the best thing about cricket.
I was thinking about that. But that is a request. That is begging for a decision.
Yeah.
But it's because I guess the decision isn't made on the like it is made on the spot. But they have a second to think about it.
Well, imagine if when you kick a goal in AFL, so you're running up to the goal square, you're 35 meters out, you're running up to the goal square, you kick a goal, and you go up to the goal umpire and you're like, "Fucking, was that a goal or not?" And they're like, "Yes, it was." But you have to ask the question, "Was it a goal?" And they go,
appealing.
"Yes."
We need more appealing.
Yeah.
I love appealing for holding the ball in the crowd. I love yelling ball.
Yeah, everybody loves yelling.
I'm down at the wife's games and I'm like, I love, people get really weirded out when because there's not much of a crowd. I've got to let the umpire know it's my responsibility. So sometimes I'm just sitting there like eating a chicken burger and I'm pretty casual, pretty nice, just chatting to people. All of a sudden you'll hear me just, yell, yeah, and they'll just be like, whoa, you're right. I'm like, man, well, someone's got to let this clown know. Like he needs a bit of pressure put on him.
Does he? That's your job, is it?
Yes.
I mean, I love yelling ball as well. Everybody loves yelling ball. It's good fun.
Well, I was just loving yelling at the TV again on the weekend. That's what I realised. I haven't yelled at the TV in a long time.
Because you didn't have any stake. You didn't have any skin in the game before.
Yeah, the Eagles have never even been in it after
within a couple
of
goals.
Quarter.
Yeah. No, it was
I reckon
exciting.
they should have sung the song.
Oh, that would have been great. That would have been great.
Just let it rip. Just be like, guys, we had a great game.
Great game, boys. Fucking play the song. Put on Eagle Rock, boys.
Did you see McGovern cop a high hit? This is amazing. Copped a high bump, just pulled some of his teeth out, gave him to the trainer.
Yeah, multiple teeth.
There's not many jobs. One of the commentators said this, and I thought, there's not many jobs where you lose some teeth and you just keep working.
Unfortunately, the AFL seems to be that job, which is a shame because you don't lose many teeth at your regular job, but you can lose them on a football field quite regularly. They just chuck it in some milk or something, don't they? And just grab it later.
Yeah, I don't know why that helps, but Reed is he is a super burly dude. He is so heavily built for being an 18-year-old. He's a man child. He is going to be amazing. I'm terrified he's going to get injured. Despite being as robust as he is or looks. I would be so devastated if he did an ACL or something at this stage.
Yeah, sure, but he probably will get injured at some point in his career.
I mean, some people have the skill of being available, like your Joel Selwoods. I think he played over 200 games consecutively.
Yeah, that is nutty. That's 10 seasons.
Yeah.
Well, it's more like
I
eight
think
seasons.
I think he
but
holds
shit,
the record.
consecutive games.
Yeah, he was.
That's how you do it. I've heard you mention Banfield in the same conversation of being available. Is that true?
I don't recall mentioning.
Maybe
Banfield
you
in
didn't
that
say that.
conversation.
Maybe you
No.
didn't say that.
I'm tipping the Eagles this week.
No, you're not.
Yep, Richmond at home.
You're spending one of the 3 wins we're going to get this season?
Yep, calling it here. And Richmond are without Tom Lynch.
Okay.
And I think they've only won 1 of their 5 games this year.
Right, so this is the best shot.
And they're coming to the fortress.
And it's so funny because they've still got to be not the favourite, right?
They won't be the favourite, no way.
No. Do your best. Do your best.
Yeah, so that's a win in my books.
I loved how positive everybody was about another loss. It's important to take positives, and that was the most positive game I've seen in years. But still got pumped. It's okay.
It's pretty sad, isn't it?
What was the final margin?
26
We
points.
lost by 30. Well, 26 points. That's pretty great. We scored over 50. You know, anytime we score over 50, I'm going to get excited. It's the new rule.
The Great American Eclipse is happening today. It's happening today. It's happening the 8th of April. So
Isn't it already happened?
No, I don't think so. I could be wrong. I thought it was happening on the 8th of April, but they're behind us. So today, the sun is coming up right now, and it's going to be obscured by the moon at some point.
Yeah, wow. I'm sure that'll be pretty gnarly. I did see a meme. It was possibly not true, but there was here's a list of all the full Airbnbs in America, and it was the full band. It was that full band of the totality line.
All the Airbnbs in that totality line? What do you mean? Or is
in
it
the
just,
States all the way through? It just booked.
Oh yeah, booked out. Yeah, they'll be maxed out. Yeah, because millions of people are coming into to see this. This is a huge event. I'm just going to send you a quick.
So most of the states is going to get like a partial eclipse. Is that right? Like most of the United States.
The whole of the United States will get a partial solar eclipse. I'm pretty sure. And then there's just a massive. It's one of the. It's almost as long as. It's one of the biggest. It'll be the biggest solar eclipse of like the last 50 years, and there's probably about 2 of this size every century.
Yeah,
but you also need it to go over land, otherwise it's useless. This one goes all the way into Canada, I'm pretty sure. So I just sent you a link.
Yes.
What do
you want me to see here?
It's this photo of. It won an award.
What, is it the Heavy? It's a SpaceX Falcon Heavy.
Just passing in front of the moon. It's pretty nice. I like it. So it won some Sony World Photography Awards in 2024.
Look at the bottom, how the moon looks weird because of the fire coming off the rocket.
Yeah, the heat.
Looks weird.
It's pretty amazing sick. Photo. So that Falcon Heavy was actually carrying the X-37B spy plane that we've talked about before.
Oh, really? What, they launched it up on a rocket and then what? Chuck it in the Atmos?
Pretty sure it was. Yeah, Falcon Heavy yeah. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it was. Here we go. 10 surprising facts about US Space Force's secretive X-37B spy plane.
Well, it says space plane here. It doesn't even say spy plane.
Oh,
it's a space plane.
This is what I'm looking at.
It looks like the space shuttle. It looks like NASA's famous space shuttle, but it's smaller.
Sorry, there's been 6 missions launched to date, and this was in 2021. So they must launch this thing quite regularly.
Yeah.
And they've got two of them, two robotic. This is what we were talking about. It's a robot. It's a bloody robot. It's a flying robot.
Wow, we got to get it up there. So we send it up with a robot, rocket robot. We got to get it up there first.
Okay, it's quite small actually. It's tiny. This is the first fact about it, the first surprising fact.
Mm.
And so I've got a scale of it here. So compared to a shuttle, like, you've got an idea in your mind about the space shuttle that used to go up and back. It's about a quarter of the size of the space shuttle, or even less.
Yeah, 8.8 meters long. That still feels pretty big to me. Like if you were to space out 8 meters.
8 meters, yeah. It's like a big boat, isn't it?
Yeah.
29 feet. So, I mean, a 29-foot boat is, I think some people would be familiar with that.
Chuck a couple of wings on it. It's a plane now. But did you see the wings on it? It's barely got wings because it lives in space.
Yeah.
Because we launch it up with a rocket.
Yeah. Okay, second fact, its missions are classified.
Oh.
I mean, if it's a spy plane, then, you'd hope so.
No, it's a space plane. It does transportation missions through Earth orbit. So they will launch it up with cargo, and then it'll go off there, and then they can land it somewhere, presumably.
Well, it's also been flying secret missions since 2010. So, I mean, it is a space plane, but it is also quite secretive.
It has to be secretive,
missions.
right? Yeah.
Okay, this isn't very fun. The missions have multiple names. Each flight has 2 official names, the OTV version, as well as a USA variant. Oh, see, so the OTV 1 is also known as the USA 212. That's just confusing. Oh, so the missions are really long. So it's designed to spend 270 days or greater in orbit at a time.
If it has to, I guess.
Okay, so the first one was 225 days. The OTV 3 lasted 674 days. Oh my God, but then the OTV 4 went for 718 days. Okay, they should have told me what the record was. The 5 went for 780 days. 780 days over 2 years. Is it? Yeah. Have you seen the International Space Station at night? Like, obviously, if you get it at the right time.
Yeah. I used to have that app on my phone.
It's incredible.
The Sky Tracker one, but I used to use Google Sky Map, and that was awesome because you can do all sorts of fun stuff on that.
Yeah.
You could pick a date 5,000 years ago, and then you'll be able to see the stars from that night just looking around. It's pretty awesome. But it would also track things like the space station and stuff as it came over. And other times you just spot it, right? You'll see it moving like a really slow shooting star, and you'll just think to yourself, well, that can't be a shooting star. I'm seeing it for way too long, and it's in a predictable pattern.
It's quite bright, and it's big. It looks big. Like the first time I saw it, I was like, whoa, like you could see it. You could kind of see it, coming. Like it was bigger. It looks, it's a bigger, shiny object than a star.
Oh yeah. You can definitely tell something's going on. I remember I was at a pub. This would have been a few years ago, and my brother was in town, and I looked up and I went, oh look, ISS. And then we looked at it for a little while, and then we confirmed it, but used one of those apps just to be like, where is it? It's above us. Great. It's good to know. Are they dismantling that thing?
Yeah, that's
and they're just going to send it.
2030, yeah.
Just drop it.
I don't know what their plan is, but the solar eclipse is going to be. I'm pretty excited to see some of the videos and things. There's websites where you can watch it and stuff like that. But to see the corona is apparently the corona of the sun, which is the sun's atmosphere, is apparently quite a spectacle.
I imagine it to be that.
It's very difficult.
Think that, like you said, it'd be quite profound to see it. And that's when you understand what's going on. That's when you got told about it years in advance. Hey, it's going to happen on this day. Everyone go down to the park. It's going to happen. It's amazing to us even when we understand it. And the coincidences involved with the moon being able to perform this are quite weird. The fact that it's four times as small as
it's 400 times. I think it's 400 times smaller than the sun, but 400 times closer.
Yeah, so it is a weird thing, and that's when we understand
almost perfectly covers the sun, and that's the only reason why you can see the corona, because it's such a perfect disk covering the sun.
Ridiculous.
Whereas if it was much bigger, say it was twice as big, it would. There'll be times when some of the corona of the sun will be visible, but not like this is like the whole of the.
It's ridiculous. It's preposterous that this works.
It's unbelievably lucky.
That's when we understand it. The point I'm trying to make is that what about the people who didn't understand it? When they just went outside and it went dark.
Inspiring moment.
Yeah, or it'd be an omen. People might think something bad's about to happen because it goes all dark in the middle of the day.
For something so peculiar to happen,
it's very strange.
Very strange.
There's a movie on Netflix called Moonfall. Have you heard about this?
I have. It's a movie. Yeah, someone told me to watch it once. It's like a comedy, isn't it?
Not really.
No?
Nah. I mean, you should watch it because it's relevant to your interests.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to say anything more than that. Maybe we'll talk about it another time.
Yeah, all right. It's on the homework list.
All right, cool. Yeah, no pressure, but because you were talking about the moon stuff, it got me thinking about it. So, yeah, maybe see what you think about that. I wouldn't watch any trailer for any movie ever again. That's just some advice.
Wait, I wouldn't watch a trailer for any movie or for Moonfall in particular?
Any movie ever again.
Why not?
What does a trailer do? A trailer is there.
Oh, it's a short summary of the movie.
A trailer is there to make you want to watch the movie. Okay? Most of the time, I think it does the opposite. I think people watch the trailer and go, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about any of this. I'm not watching that. Whereas if they just watched it, what I'm trying to say is that if you've made the decision to watch something, if you're like, I'm going to watch this movie, the worst thing you can do is watch a trailer. You've already done what the trailer is designed to do. You're already going to watch the movie.
Do you not want to get on the hype train? Like I was thinking I was watching the Dune trailers.
Yeah, no.
I was getting excited for that.
No, there needs to be a blackout at some point. I mean, when Star Wars Episode 1 trailer came out and you had to download a QuickTime video file, did I download it? Yes, I did. Did I have to install QuickTime Movie Viewer to watch that? Yes, I did. And I'd do it again. But some trailers are just really fucking bad. And look, this Moonfall movie might not be that good, but a friend of mine watched the trailer and went, I don't really need to watch the movie now. I kind of know what the movie is now. And I sort of said, oh, okay, because I just watched it. So I was like, yeah, well, tell me what you think the movie's about. And he sort of laid it out for me. And because I'd only watched 3/4 of the movie, he was saying stuff that I hadn't even seen yet.
Oh my God. So he'd seen more of the movie than you had.
That's what I'm saying.
So
trailers are fucked, man. Except for that KFC Colonel the Chicken Man one. Secrets out, Chicken Man.
We should do a viewing of that. We haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, we have.
We only saw the trailer.
You want to watch the whole thing?
Yeah.
This is my point. We've seen the trailer now. I don't give a fuck.
But a 2-minute trailer for a 15-minute
movie
film is a bit different because it is actually more than 10% of the running time of the actual film. So
Harlan Sanders. And if you don't know what we're talking about, KFC made a movie with like the Lifestyle Channel or something to that effect. And it was talking about Harlan Sanders. There was a bit of a subplot of him marrying into this family and he's the new chicken chef or some shit. He's got a secret recipe that's going to change the world. And
then he was tied up in a basement at one point in the trailer.
Kill him! With it, she's got a knife and he's kill him. 'Kill him! What the fuck happened to Colonel Sanders before he got big? Anyway,
that is
gripping.
dramatized. It's sponsored or produced by KFC, right?
Yeah, it's called a recipe for seduction. Not to plug it again.
Recipe for seduction.
It was made in 2020.
I have to watch that.
Yeah, I'm sure we can get it somewhere.
I have to.
It was made in 2020. Who's the director? Directed by people you can't click on Wikipedia. Written by the same people, but you can't click on them in Wikipedia.
But it's got an actor in it, right? It's got a guy.
Yeah, it's got Mario
recognised.
Lopez from E! News or something. I think he was on Saved by the Bell. He was on one of the OGs of Saved by the Bell. I don't remember much of Saved by the Bell except for Screech. Was there a guy called Screech? There was a guy called Screech.
I believe you.
In Saved by the Bell.
I believe you.
Anyway, the film has a 70% score on Rotten Tomatoes, indicating generally positive reviews. Many critics noted the juxtaposition between the film's bizarre premise and its familiar use of tropes associated with Hallmark movies. Who the fuck watches Hallmark movies? Christine blah blah of the Los Angeles Times gave a more favorable review, calling it a tongue-in-cheek take on the Lifetime romance genre and aimed at women who love men who love chicken.
That is speaking to me.
Praised the film's storytelling and called it comfort food. What the fuck? These are all just puns about chicken. Alexandra of Deadline Hollywood said that the film had an unusual casting for an even odder title.
It will leave you licking your fingers.
Someone was more critical, calling it simply another example of how corporate advertising continues to overtly commandeer everyday spaces like film and social media.
Yeah, this is corporate capture of the film industry. This is the beginnings of it, where films are just being made
to be used as advertising pieces.
Yeah, it's just
Didn't we see this coming a long time ago? Wasn't there a Bond film where just like the product placement in these Bond films was like real bad and obvious?
Yeah,
like
the watches, the
he's
suits,
always got a BMW.
the cars.
Yeah, he's got a new Beamer, you know. What's that, Q? 007, it's a Rolex, but it's also got this little feature where if you press this, a laser beam comes out of some shit. Like, you know, it got pretty bad, the product placement. I mean, when I went to film school, I mean, I don't know, maybe I don't remember anything, but I thought you had to get like permission to put a Coke can in your frame. You know what I mean? I find out it's the exact opposite. They're just shoveling money out the door for you to put a Coke can.
So you're saying we can just say we're sponsored by anyone?
No, not really.
Can we do some product placement?
Clearly,
I mean, we do it with
about.
Archie's all the time.
Well, twice.
Archie's thongs, yeah.
Well, no, but that you
like
giving a generally favourable product review is not advertising.
I think I did suggest that we were being sponsored by them at one point.
I think, yeah, but that was a lie, wasn't it? That wasn't true. Now, look, word of mouth is probably the best advertising, and you're doing it for Archie's, okay?
We also do it for, I think, because we like to say we're sponsored by nature.
Well, that's something that you've recently brought up. I like that. And you can't really dispute that. Nor is there any legal recourse
by nature
can
and
take.
electricity. Yep. And we like talking about, I think we're sponsored by apocalyptic events in some ways because we're really talking. Yeah, we give them a big rap. No, it's not the apocalyptic events because we're talking about apocalyptic events.
Go on.
We are part of the industry.
The post-apocalyptic industry.
We are.
Which is what, bottle caps and stuff? Like bottle caps and
gruel. You know those big tubs of lard and gruel and things that they try to sell. What do you call the ender welders in the US particularly?
They're called they're called like Doomsday.
The Doomsday hoarders.
No, they're called something else.
Preppers. That's it.
They're prepping.
We are the prepping industry is a big one because you're selling things in bulk. Mm-hmm. And you're selling just junk that people don't even need, right? They don't even need it now.
Man, you are living pretty lavishly in the nuclear wastelands if you got a few of them packs, though. You got some water in there, presumably, some like instant coffee, maybe. Maybe you got some like
freeze-dried hot dogs.
Yeah, you got some of them. Mate,
for the game.
You are living large. Living large.
Actually, I was a little bit concerned. We were looking into those Simpson predictions last week.
Yeah.
Right, and we had Cypress Hill performing with London Symphony Orchestra.
Yeah, which I did a bit more digging on that, and that's not that impressive, that one.
It's not that impressive.
They played with other symphony orchestras. It's just in the episode, they, while high, ordered the London Symphony Orchestra, which apparently must be a bigger deal, right? It's kind of like how Broadway and the West End are like the two major big theatre things, and then you've got everyone else. So, yeah, London Symphony Orchestra, probably a pretty big deal. I imagine the Berlin Symphony Orchestra also pretty badass. I reckon they must be pretty damn good themselves. I think
we were more impressed by the Trump election, and Trump wasn't even in the race back when the Simpsons predicted,
just impressed by the Simpsons
predicting the states. But it was kind of like the obvious states that you would pick if there was going to be a Republican win. You know the way they.
Okay. So was there an election map?
Much.
Was there an election?
The election map was spot on.
Right.
It was spot on. They predicted it exactly.
Oh, that's disgusting.
But anyway, in a recent episode of The Simpsons, I hear they have an episode where a solar superstorm hits Springfield.
Yeah.
Again, and it results in a complete shutdown. It's a great prediction because I'm actually worried about this. In The Simpsons, there's a complete shutdown. There's no internet, no electricity, and it really aligns with a potential real-world impact.
Yeah. And these guys, we've talked about it before, but they're futurists, not because they're futurists, but because they're just really smart people who write for that show.
And we've talked about on the show before, but the last significant solar storm to hit Earth was in 1859.
Yeah, just have no idea of what it's going to do in today's environment, do we? We just have no idea.
Not really. And it's called the Carrington event.
It's bad news.
And there's no reason why it couldn't happen again. And the sun's actually in a particularly active cycle at the moment, which is very interesting for the purposes of the eclipse, because you'll actually see some of the matter, the I don't know what you call it. There'll be ejections because it's 4 minutes that this thing is we're going to be able to see the corona for. You just. Like there'll be some amazing footage of like it'll look like eruptions off the surface of the sun, and they're called coronal mass ejections. If you have one of those if you have a big one and it's pointed right at the Earth, that's what happens. That is a solar storm.
Yeah,
and there's no reason why one as big as the Carrington event, if not,
and the Carrington event knocked out stuff even back then.
It caused fires. What did it do?
But we had electricity then.
We had a little bit.
Did it knock the power? Did it knock the power out?
It caused fires. People got electrocuted on either end of telegram infrastructure.
Yeah, right.
But
that's
now
a bit of an ish.
We've got hard drives now. Everything's stored on hard drives. So a solar storm of sufficient magnitude. Well, firstly, it's definitely going to affect satellites.
What, it can wipe all the drives on Earth. Is that what you're saying?
Potentially.
Well, make sure you put your bloody Simpsons episode in a lead box or some shit.
I know. I know. Power grids. Who knows what's going to happen to power grids as we know them these days?
Yes.
This was in 1859. Yes. I mean, we didn't even have. I think we just had the steam engine.
I mean, your car's going to be fine unless it's brand new.
On 23 July 2012, a Carrington class.
We're gonna go full analog again.
We might have to. A Carrington class solar superstorm was observed, but its trajectory narrowly missed Earth. In June 2013, so this is a year after that near Carrington class event, the Atmospheric and Environmental Research in the US, like that seems to be some body, estimated that it would a cost of a Carrington event in 2013 would cost the US alone $600 billion to $6.2 trillion.
What is that based off? Like infrastructure. Like
I don't know.
What is she saying? What are they saying is the end game of that? Did we lose everything?
I don't know what.
Is that like if every hard
what
drive gets
actually
wiped, it'll
happens,
cost $600 million a day?
Yeah,
There's gotta
I
be
don't know
people thinking
what they're
about this,
taking
though.
into account. Whether they're taking into account the costs after the event in terms of lost productivity and things like that, or it's a big number. So
Totally.
this is interesting
Can
as
you
well.
Can you imagine the internet going out for a day? What that would do to the world? Just the internet, something that we didn't even need 20 years ago. Yeah, yeah, something that we didn't need 25 years ago. If the internet goes out for 24 hours, we have chaos.
The
we
whole
have a real
thing
problem.
goes down. Yeah.
We have
I hear people talk about the
significant problem.
vulnerabilities of our society as it is now, because we've been scaling up really, really fast.
Yeah.
And there's vulnerabilities. So this is very interesting, actually. Researchers have looked at ice cores, and there's signatures of large solar storms have been found for the years 774 and 993. These are the years.
A couple of 100 years, then say a 500-year gap. And
so I don't know from when they've been looking from, because if they've been looking for 10,000 years and there's only been two significant ones, then
it would make no sense if they were that close together.
That's true. I'm just going to guess that that we're only talking about the last couple of thousand years. But the data suggests that the 1774 one was 10 times more powerful than the Carrington event.
I thought the Carrington event was the 1774 one.
No, this is 774. Sorry. 774.
And then the Carrington event was 1850 or something.
1859.
Yeah.
And people didn't know what the fuck was going on with that. That was a mild solar storm by the sound of things, but they call it a Carrington. They sort of use that as, I guess, a measure, because we don't have many things to go by. So that's just a Carrington class superstorm. But one that's 10 times. So that figure of June, that's research organization that estimated that a Carrington event, they're basing the cost of a Carrington event in 2013 being 600 billion to 2.6 trillion.
A little one.
One that's 10 times more powerful. Who knows?
Right, it's 10 times the cost.
Well, it could be more. It could be exponential. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying that I don't think it's necessarily just as a linear thing where like a bigger event's bigger cost. Like it could.
It's funny how we view any part of this existence as like stable. In that at all times, regardless of how things are going on the planet's surface, we are still hurtling through space, and there's shit out there that can blink us out of existence. We wouldn't even know it. So it does feel pretty stable on solid ground here. I don't feel like I'm spinning, at several thousand kilometers per hour. And yet there is this inevitability out there that sometime, something will happen.
It is inevitable. And this is what sort of freaks me out, is it's not that I think there's going to be a Carrington-class solar storm tomorrow or in the next year, next 10 years even. But there's so many things that could potentially happen.
That's just one thing, yeah.
And they do happen. These things do happen. I've got this book.
Yeah.
Where is it? It's called 1,000 Days That Changed the World. And it's just a book where it's got one page for each significant event. I mean, some of them aren't that significant in the scheme of things. But this is, there's only, I think, 25 things that happen in this book before the year 0. So there's things in BC times.
Yeah. So there'd be things like the discovery of fire, which obviously without, you don't have anything after that.
Well, it didn't have that because that's not documented. They have the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. So they say 65 million years ago, this was a day that changed the world.
Yeah.
They don't have the Younger Dryas impact theory event, of course.
Not there.
On there. No. But they don't have any. They don't have, for example, they don't obviously have these solar storms that happen in 774 and 993 because, firstly, they wouldn't have done that much damage because we didn't have electronics at that point.
That you know of.
That I know of. But there's a lot of there's just all these things that can happen, and like you're saying, I'm not saying any one of them is going to happen, but something's going to happen. Whether it's a big, not soon, but just at some point, something's going to happen. Is all I'm saying. You can't deny that, right?
No, that's a great prediction. Put that in the Simpsons.
Put that in. Yeah.
Something, somewhere, something. Don't know
of
how big or small.
Of significance.
Well, could look small, but it will be. Is happening.
And that shit's like catnip for me. Yeah, I get excited. It gets me going. I'm like, man, it's just cool to think about when someone flips the table.
That's exactly what it is.
A nuclear war scares me. Nuclear war scares me a lot.
Well, that's that's way more likely.
That's way more likely. That has to be the most likely way.
You can push the probability way up on that one over any other sort of means. Because
it's there. It's staring.
There must have been some people who, when they split the atom and when they realized the potential, especially from a weapon perspective, there must have been some people that are like, oh no, I think we've just put us on a path. I think we've put the world on a path that ends in complete nuclear devastation.
Well, I think they would probably be focusing on the positives of harnessing nuclear energy rather than the destructive forces of it. What
I'm saying is that it didn't take long for it to become weaponized, in the sense that it's like, oh, we got this thing that can create lots of energy. You reckon it could be a weapon? Yes, actually, I think it can. Oh.
Sort of next week, we're going to discuss the pros and cons of nuclear energy.
Yeah. Got any pros?
No, next week. I'll think about it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be back next week. Send us an email. See you then.